to brief reporters. That's Secretary Wolfowitz at the podium now. This is live coverage on C-SPAN.
Blizzardy day, but more importantly, the extraordinary efforts that our coalition partners and particularly the 12 countries that have come for discussions today have been contributing to our efforts in Afghanistan and in the whole war on terrorism. The commitment of our allies and partners has shown that we are not alone in this defense of freedom and justice and peace, nor are we alone in understanding that the threat posed by the connection between terrorist networks and states that possess weapons of mass terror presents us with the danger of a catastrophe that could be orders of magnitude worse than what we experienced on September 11th. As evidence of this, these nations, represented here by their outstanding military officers, and many others are part of a large coalition of the willing who have risen to the defense of freedom. In fact, more countries are now involved in the global war on terror than were involved in the coalition that fought the Gulf War 12 years ago. And the coalition continues to grow. The people of these nations and their forces in the field have stood with America and with the rest of the coalition in the war on terrorism, and we are deeply grateful for their support and cooperation. The purpose of our briefing here today, at the end of many hours of discussions between these gentlemen and the representatives of the DoD Policy Office and the Joint Staff, is to give them an opportunity to speak directly to members of our press and to our public and their publics on some of the important accomplishments that they've achieved during the course of their participation in the operation. I believe today we've selected 4. I don't know if they drew the names out of a hat, because I think any random 4 from this group could have some remarkable stories to tell. I met them just a few minutes before we were coming in, and as each different country was mentioned, I could recall specific things, acts of heroism in some cases, tragedies where someone suffered from a mine accident, incredible feats of humanitarian assistance from every one of the 12 countries mentioned here. There are 4 specifically that you will hear from. The Republic of Korea, that has provided outstanding humanitarian, medical, and transportation support. The Kingdom of Jordan, which has, among other things, done some incredible medical assistance work to the people of Afghanistan through Army field hospitals there. Where's our Jordanian rep? I had the pleasure of visiting your field hospital in Mazar-e-Sharif, which I think was set up right after the liberation of the city in December of 2001. And we visited there, if I recall, in July of last year, and you were already approaching 100,000 patients. And I guess you'll brief these people, it must be another 100,000 by now. And just so many cases of people suffering from chronic illnesses, people suffering from many kinds of wounds that had been suffered during the many years of fighting in that part of Afghanistan. One particularly engaging young girl who just couldn't stop talking. In translation, the translator had trouble keeping up with her, but expressing just eloquently the gratitude that the people from there feel for the work that you've done, and I know that's reproduced elsewhere. Spain has provided key assistance in military operations, including maritime assistance and demining, as well as humanitarian aid and medical support, including, as I think many of you know, that outstanding operation that managed to interdict the shipment of scuds to Yemen, which ultimately we decided we had to release, but the skill and bravery in doing that was outstanding. And I think it sends a message, too, to people who ship illegal stuff that we have a way to get to them. And 4th, Kuwait, which has made important contributions to humanitarian efforts and given tons of medical food and school supplies. This kind of support has helped Afghans rebuild their country after almost a quarter of a century. I guess we should say to begin rebuilding their country, it's a long task, but it's a very good start. And the goal is that it should never again become a haven for terrorists. And the goal is that the Afghan people will remember this coalition is a coalition that came to liberate their country, not to occupy it. That support has allowed women to return to their professions. It's allowed tens of thousands of children to go back to school. It has helped provide the stability and security that has given a representative government in Afghanistan the opportunity to gain a firm hold and continue to flourish. When Afghanistan is firmly on its feet and no longer needs a coalition presence, we will leave. As I said, our goal has been liberation and non-occupation, but we will stay the course to make sure that that country has the assistance it needs. With that, I'd like to turn the floor over to our visitors from CENTCOM, but I'd just like to conclude by saying, on behalf of Secretary Rumsfeld and the rest of us in the Department of Defense, we're delighted to have you here today, in spite of the snowy weather. We appreciate having you as partners and friends in the war on terror, and we thank you very much for the outstanding support your countries have given to this great effort. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shukran jazilan.
Many thanks to you. Shukran.
Thank you. Thank you. Shukran.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Colonel Yusuf Al-Haneti. I am from the Royal Jordan Air Force. It's my proud privilege and an honor for me to be here today to give you a short brief about my homeland, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, position in a global war on terrorism, and their contribution to Operation Enduring Freedom. Jordanian government repeatedly demonstrated her solidarity with the United States and coalition in support of global war on terrorism. And His Majesty King Abdullah clearly pledged his full support for as long as it takes to defeat the terrorist threat. Jordan was among the first countries to join coalition and to send representatives to Central Command. Jordan has provided basing and overflight permission for all U.S. and coalition forces. Jordan was also among the first few countries who contributed to Operation Enduring Freedom. A contribution was in terms of humanitarian assistance in two areas. Next slide, please. As you all aware, there are little infrastructure and no health care in large area of Afghanistan. For that, Jordanian government deployed field medical hospital to Mazar Sharif area in the northern part of Afghanistan, and it was officially opened since January 08, 2002. The medical staff consists of many senior military doctors with extensive experience in treating military and civilians patients, including women and children. The hospital capable of doing minor and major surgeries. We have expanded the volume of work at the hospital and have sent some of our doctors to run our patients' clinic in the local hospitals and operate there according to circumstances. We have been involved in teaching and training of the local doctors from the local military, civilian, and university hospitals. Cooperation with NGOs. Our preventive medicine expert has helped in providing assistance to the local authorities and international humanitarian organizations with regards to setting up medical screening and vaccination programs. By doing that, we gained the confidence and the trust from the local leaders and the population to the coalition, and in particular in that part of the country. Since open, the hospital has had helped more than 165,000 patients and performed more than 2,000 surgeries. Next slide, please. And next. Next. Among the patients, there were more than 100,000 women and children. Also, as you are all aware, Afghanistan is a country with one of the highest mine density in the world. Therefore, Jordan's contribution in this area was deploying an aardvark mine clearing unit and personnel since December 09, 2001. They are currently deployed to Kandahar and has cleared mines from over 280,000 square meters in Bagram and Kandahar area. I hope by this I have gave you a short brief about Jordan's contribution to Operation Enduring Freedom, and I'll give the stage now to my friend from Spain.
Previous slide, please. No, previous. Former one. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Spanish Rear Admiral Rodriguez, and I will talk to you in the next couple of minutes about the Spanish contribution to the Operation Enduring Freedom and ISAF. All Spaniards were struck by the September 11th, and we felt very near to the American heart because we have suffered for a long time from terrorism. So we immediately committed ourselves in the war on terrorism, which we know is a very long time effort, bound to be won only if we remain united and persevere on it. Here we have in the previous slide, is not here, the previous one. You had the main areas where we are contributing: conducting military operation in the Horn of Africa and Afghanistan, supporting operations with Spanish military bases, providing a mobile hospital in Bagram from February to September 2002, and with humanitarian assistance. We want our contribution to be complete with ships, aircrafts, and helicopters, and troops from the three services, and assets to help to rebuild and put up to speed to the country of Afghanistan. Here you see the units deployed in the Horn of Africa: maritime patrol aircrafts, helo units, and frigates and logistic ships. In that area, Spain, next slide please. In that area, Spain had the command of the Task Force 150 until January 31st. And we did a very important job, very much appreciated by United States authorities. Everybody remembered the seizure of the Sosan with the Scots inside. It was a real turn point in non-compliant interdiction operations. We were relieved over there by a combined European maritime force with ships from France, Italy, and Spain. Next slide, please. In Afghanistan, we have helicopters in search and rescue operations. We have airplanes supplying the country. We have an engineer group helping to rebuild bridges and major institutional facilities. We have an explosive deactivation team in Bagram, Kabul, and we have an air deployment unit also in Kabul for guiding the cargo entering in Afghanistan. Next slide, please. And in ISAF, we have one battalion-sized task force operating in Kabul, consisting in a part of the units mentioned before as engineering unit and explosive deactivation group, a civil and and military cooperation team. And to promote stability in the region, we are helping to train the Afghan National Army with demining courses in Spain. The third promotion has been just graduated, and we are preparing the next course. And this concludes my brief presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
We're going to leave this briefing at this point as we'll continue to record it in its entirety. We'll show it to you a little bit later on. Right now, we're going to show you President Bush